Hi everyone. Welcome to this session of IELTS speaking. I'm Shaji George from Envertiz Academy, Cochin, Kerala. Let's wait for a few more seconds so that some more students may join. Okay, let's begin. Speaking is in fact the shortest module among all the IELTS modules. It is a face-to-face session and it takes around 11 to 14 minutes roughly because the exact time is decided by the examiner. And the whole session is being recorded. Remember, speaking is a formal but informal session. Why it is formal? Because it is your exam, it is an international exam. It has to be considered as informal so that you will feel more relaxed and natural and spontaneous when you speak. That is being expected for the speaking. So it should be a natural and spontaneous one. So no memorizing will help you in speaking. So let's come to the point. Speaking has actually three parts. The first part is the introduction. So as the word says, introduction is first of all is a self-introduction. So the examiner will introduce himself or herself. He will tell his name and where is he from and he will ask you, the candidate, to introduce yourself. Then you have to say your official or formal name, what is there in your passport. He will verify your passport and other credentials and he will admit you to the exam. And introduction takes only 4 to 5 minutes. It is actually a cooling off time, we can say, so that you will feel a little more relaxed because these are not very serious questions, very simple questions. Like, where do you come from? Do you study or work? What are your interests or hobbies? Like that. Okay. Let's now take a simple example. Suppose he asks you, what's your favorite food? Then you have to say some answer and give a little more explanation to it. For example, if that question is asked to me, I may say, I like biryani because I don't get it often. I rarely get it on special occasions. And moreover that, I like the flavor, the taste of that particular rice and the preparation. So what I want to tell you is say one or two sentences. Don't stop with just yes or no because most of these introductory questions are yes or no questions. For example, do you like ice cream? Yes, don't just say yes, I like or I don't like. Say one more, add one more sentence. Okay, I like vanilla most. Or who doesn't like ice cream? I also like ice cream a lot. So this is the way that you have to follow the introduction questions. Okay. The next part is cue card. This is one of the most important part of speaking. Here, you will be given a particular subject matter, a topic, and there will be some probing questions to prepare so that you can present it better. So it will take almost 2 to 3 minutes. The 1 minute is for preparation and 2 minutes presentation. And you should know, every student should know how to prepare the cue card. This is the most important thing. Many students fail to do it and managing the cue card. There are many ways we can prepare the cue card. I will show you a simple format. See, usually there may be 3 or 4 questions. Let's take an example here. Describe a time you watch the sky. This is the subject matter. This is the topic given to you. Describe a time you watch the sky. The sub questions are: when this happened, who you were with, what you saw, how you felt about the watching the sky. So the leading questions here are when, who, what, how. These are the question words. So how we can prepare it? Let's see. You can see the chart here. The subject is watching the sky. So you have to write only the short points here. The first question is when. So under when you may write or jot down, okay, when I was a kid or during my school days. Then next, in a summertime, because in the summertime the sky is very clear, and at night, so it will be all the more interesting to watch the sky at night at summer. Okay. Next is who you watch with. Here you can write or jot down family members and parents. Usually at night you may not go out alone, so you may be with your parents or your elders. Next is what. What did you see or what did you watch? See, look at this question. The first two ones, when and who, you don't have much to say. But the third one, what did you see? Here you may have to add a few more sentences. This is what exactly you have to remember when you prepare the paper. There may be 3 or 4 questions, but all of them you may not be able to explain much. But at least there will be one question where you have to explain or describe a little more so that you can speak for 2 minutes. Here, that question is the third one, that is, what you have seen or what did you see? Okay, invariably at night in summer we can see this moon, the stars, that would be a cluster of stars. So we can say I have seen the galaxy. Parents are with you, they would have explained to you what a galaxy is or shown you the Milky Way of a galaxy. Okay, the final question usually is something connected with feelings. Or how did you feel when you watched the sky field? So how? So here it is better to learn a good or standard vocabulary to express your feelings, both positive and negative, depending upon the question. So it is good to by heart a few because vocabulary matters in your speaking. So here you can say I felt really happy or excited, or you can use certain idioms and you can say it was a memorable experience. I still remember it vividly. Some people say I was just over the moon. So you can use any idioms or expressions. That's where you can fetch a better result. Okay. Now let's take a short break. Welcome back. So let's go to the third part. The third part is the discussion. Actually, it takes almost 4 to 5 minutes, and the examiner will ask a couple of questions, 5 to 7 questions. Here, you have to give a reasoned answer. Explain your answers with proper illustrations. That means you have to illustrate with an example, and you should be consistently developing your viewpoint. So it is a discussion. So examiner may ask you a few more questions based on your answer. But you should not get perplexed. It is not to find fault with you, or is it because it is not because that your answer is wrong. That's where it's about. It's a discussion. So formerly it was called follow-up discussion. Why follow-up discussion? Because these questions follow from the cue card. So here what you have to really remember is explain with certain details and illustrations. For example, let's take one question. Today, we have taken the cue card of watching the sky. So let's take a question like this. Do you encourage children to watch the sky? Do you encourage children to watch the sky? How will you address this? It's a general question. That's what I said. Smart probing questions. So we should be able to understand what the advantages or disadvantages, according to you, of watching the sky. Suppose this question is asked to me, I will say, yes, I surely encourage, because that develops creativity and imagination and a sense of wonder among children, and naturally he may be a good artist by watching the sky, enjoying the sky, or he can even become a space scientist, thinking about it, reading more about it, about the sky and the moon and the universe. So that will develop an interest in these children and to shape their future. So that way, watching the sky is really important. So I have given an example that what happens if we watch like that. Suppose the question or the cue card is something based on technology, because we get a lot of cue cards like that, technology and environmental issues. Suppose technology is something being updated every day. So a question can be something like this. Why the big companies update their products every now and then? They come up with new products, new versions. Why? So in order to address this type of question, these are the nature of the third part questions. You should have a certain idea about the subject matter. For that, a wide reading is very, very important. Why updations in technology? Because it's part of business, and now science is growing. People want to know the latest and the best. So naturally, we will be thinking in those lines. Additionally, you should also develop or know certain vocabulary connected with that particular subject. If it is environmental issues or ecological issues, or now, for example, we are talking about artificial intelligence and technology. So, updations of your knowledge, reading newspaper, reading magazines, especially of your interested subject. If you don't know anything about the subject or the question which the examiner has asked you, please don't bluff. You can genuinely say, I'm not, but this is what I understand, and let me try. So be genuine. And if you are not, if you don't have any idea, I told you, you can ask the examiner to explain the question, or you can ask, instead of asking him to explain, you can ask, will you please repeat the question once again? During those few seconds, you can reflect over it and you can find, but don't beat around the bush. That is very, very important in the third part. There should be some content or rationale in your answer. It is not introductory questions. That's the difference between introductory questions and the discussion questions. Discussion questions you have to carry forward with your opinion, with your discretionary power and your rationale. And there will be surely more questions from the examiner, but be prepared to understand it and answer it. Okay. These are the three parts in IELTS speaking. Okay, hope you have understood. So I will make a recap. Okay, the first part is introduction. There it is a question and answer session. Second one is cue card. There you alone have to speak for 3 minutes or a little more than 2 minutes. And the last part is discussion. That is a two-way discussion between the examiner and the candidate. Okay. Now let's come to the criteria. On what basis you are being judged or valued in your examination? This is very, very important. I hope you know the criteria. The first one is fluency and coherence. Next one is lexical resource. Then grammatical range and accuracy and pronunciation. And remember, all these carry equal weightage, 25% each. So don't pay attention to one and neglect the other. For example, you are trying to remember or study a lot of vocabulary, lexical resource, but fluency is poor. Possibility is there. You are thinking about or reflecting about the words which you have studied, how to incorporate that in your speaking. But naturally, there can be problem with fluency. So it should be a natural process. So the weightage is equal. That is 25% each. So let's take these aspects one by one. First one is fluency and coherence. What is actually fluency? It is not actually speech. It is, you should be able to convey your idea without fault or stoppage. The idea should be consistently conveyed and finish that sentence. You should be able to finish the sentence without stopping in between. So if there is a problem with vocabulary, problem with your ideas or your knowledge, then there will be a possibility of getting blocked. That is called a lack of fluency. So be natural. That is the best way to be fluent. Okay, that is, and when you are fluent, when you are speaking, there should be also consistency. That is called coherence. So one sentence should lead to the other. So there should be sufficient connections between sentences and the ideas which you express. So that is what is called fluency and coherence. And the next criteria is lexical resource. So lexical means dictionary. So lexical resource means the number of standard vocabulary you are using. So we know in IELTS we are supposed to use formal words. So study some good idioms or phrases that will fetch you a better score. And there should be, and the next criteria is grammatical range and accuracy. So whatever you say should be grammatically correct, but not enough. A range, grammatical range and accuracy. What is this range here? So you should be able to communicate in different types of sentences. That means you should be able to link one idea with other. Naturally, you'll be using complex sentences. So using a variety of sentences, mostly complex and compound sentences. Don't just use simple sentences and all. That's why grammatical range, of course, and accuracy. We should follow the tense. Most of these cue card questions are in past tense. So remember to use the past if the questions are in past. And also the other parts of speech, other parts of the grammar, it should be correct. Then your grammatical range and accuracy is well, one can say. And the last one is pronunciation. Formerly it was only British or BBC was accepted. Now all types of pronunciation, including American or Asian pronunciations, are accepted. But only thing is that there should not be any mother tongue influence. That's what we have to remove. Because communication, speaking is for communication, so for understanding. So if you are able to communicate to the examiner what's in your mind, you are already clear. Your mindset is communicated well. So it is, pronunciation is not a big issue now, provided you don't have the too much of mother tongue influence. That can be done away with through studying, and that's why we are here. So you have any difficulty, you can come to Envertiz. We have both online and offline classes. Okay. There are certain tips I can tell you to boost your speaking. First one is, don't disclose that you are doing IELTS. See, this is a question that invariably asked to everyone. Do you work or study? But sometimes students say, I'm studying for IELTS. No, please don't do that. These are the don'ts I'm going to tell. don't disclose that I am doing IELTS, because that goes without saying. The very fact that you are sitting before the examiner is that you are doing IELTS. So that is not a good answer. Second one is, don't memorize your answers. I told you it should be very spontaneous. If you memorize, you can get stuck and there will be block. And your spontaneity is gone. So naturally, you will have difficulty and sometimes you may stop in between. So please remember not to memorize and be spontaneous. And also, next, don't go on speaking with long sentences, because if you are able to express the idea in a short and sweet form, that's better. Otherwise, you can go off topic. Okay, I told you that you should use complex and compound sentences. Thinking of compound and complex sentences, if you are combining too many ideas at one stretch, there is every possibility of lack of clarity. So it is see to that your topic is pointed and we just convey what you wanted to say. Otherwise, there is possibility of going off. Okay, this is all what I want to tell you. If you have any queries or questions, please feel free to put forward. Okay, I have got a few questions here. The first one is, I know English. I have been studying English from school days onwards, but I find difficulty to speak. I can easily write, but speaking is a problem. Yes, it's a concern for many students. Not because that we don't know English, but because we don't practice speaking. So what I want to tell you is, do speak something in English every day with your parents or your friends or your colleagues, whoever it is. So you can develop your ability to speak, to communicate through speaking, by speaking only. Don't, not by learning or by hearing. No, it should be spontaneous. So you please make it a habit that you converse with your friend or somebody every day. Maybe in the beginning it will be difficult. You may not be able to articulate a few sentences. Later you can have even a discussion. So do practice speaking every day. And also what you can do is, you can record your speaking. Nowadays we have all the gadgets with you, mobile phone, smartphone. And you can record your speaking and see how do you perform, or what difficulties you have faced, and then rewind it and see and try to recuperate it. Okay. Next, how can I speak for 2 minutes? I mean, the cue card. Very often students find it difficult to speak for 2 minutes. They may finish with the 1 minute or little more than 1 minute. So how can one speak for 2 minutes? As I told you, preparing the cue card is the key to it. So if you prepare the cue card properly, especially there are certain questions, as I told you, that needs little explanation. So find out which question among those questions given to you, which question needs explanation. Normally, if there is a question how, that needs explanation. Okay, or what or why. Why means a reasoning. So you should give reasons. So why and how. These question words, if those type of questions are there, try to explain it further, give some details about it, and then you should be able to cover up that. And also follow the chronology, the order. Then you will be able to tackle your 2 minutes properly. Okay, and the last question which I have got here is, I did my exam well, I spoke well, but I did not get my expected score or required score. What may be the reason? Yeah, this is an expectation or this is a regular feature for many of the students. All of us feel so. What may be the reason? You feel that you have done well, all your sentences are correct. But as I told you, we may have to see the grammatical errors and also the vocabulary. As I told you, the formal vocabulary. And it is highly important to use certain unfamiliar words, standard words, idioms, and phrases to get a better batch. Okay, you may have still lot of questions in your mind, or do you have more doubts? You can always come to us. Envertiz is here in Cochin. We have online and offline classes. You are most welcome to contact us. Thank you.